Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. Today I am going to be showing you how to change the front brakes and rotors on a Ford F150 XLT 4.6 liter V8 1997. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come over here and remove this cover so you can get to the lug nuts. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver, and you just put it in this little slot here and pop it out. Then you're going to want to jack up the truck. Make sure you use jack stands and you are safe. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to get it up on the jack and get that cover off, and I'll come back and we'll get the lug nuts off and go from there. Alright, I am back. I have it all jacked up. We have it on jack stands. So next you're going to want to remove the lug nuts and take the tire off. They are 19 millimeter. So nice and easy. You just put them on and take them off. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back after I get the tire off, and we'll come back and go from there. Alright, we are back. So I have the tire off. So next what you're going to want to do is remove the two slide bolts. One right here and one right here. I believe they're 14 millimeter. And then after you get that off, you'll pull this part of the caliper up, and you're going to want to use a bungee or something so you can have it up and not have a bunch of stress on the brake cable, because you don't want to break that. So I'm going to get those two bolts off, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when we pull the caliper off. Alright, we are back. So next what you're going to do after removing those two bolts is pull up on this and take the caliper off. And then be careful for the brake line. You're going to want to hang it from a bungee. So I'm going to hang it from a bungee and get it all secure, and then I will come back. Alright, we are back. So next you're going to want to remove these two 18 millimeter bolts back here, and that will allow you to take off the caliper bracket here, so then we can get the rotor off. You're going to want to right now probably take the time and use some PV blaster and spray around the middle of the rotor and kind of behind here. Spray the bolts you're going to take off for the caliper bracket as well. And just kind of take a couple hits with a sledgehammer so it'll start to loosen up. So when we get to that step, it won't be as hard to take off. So I'm going to get these two 18 millimeter bolts out and this caliper bracket off, and then we'll come back and get the old rotor off. Alright, we have those two bolts out and the caliper mounting bracket off. So what you're going to want to do is take the time and clean everything up and put the new slides in. And then in the back here, you're going to want to put in the new metal spring. So next, what we want to do is get off the old rotor. So to get this off, what you need to do is start banging with a hammer. So I'm going to start working on it, and once I get it off, I'll come back and we'll go from there. Right, we are back. The sledgehammer didn't work real easy, so what I ended up doing is taking a 1/2 inch bolt, 3-inch 1/2 inch bolt, and putting it in here, and you use the two nuts, and you use an impact wrench, and you use that, and it pushes it up. And then you go to the next one. Looks like they did have some anti-seize in there from before, but it did not work. So, there's the old rotor. Definitely tore up. So, I'm going to get this all cleaned up, and then I'll come back and we'll put on the new one, and I will show you what we're going to do. We are back. So, I've got everything cleaned up. I painted the caliper bracket. here is the new rotor. We are going with some Bosch quiet cast rotors and matching brake pads. So first thing you're going to want to do is put the new rotor on. I do know I have a broken stub here. I'm waiting for the new one to come so then I can press it out. I will make a video on how to do that as well. So, you get your new one pushed on, and then next you're going to want to take your caliper bracket and grease the new slides after you put in the new slides, and then put your brake pads in, and then we're going to slip it on here and put in the 18mm bolts. So I'm going to get the brake pads in, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like, and then we'll slip it on. Alright, I'm back. So, I have the pads and the caliper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and slide it over the rotor here, and then screw in the two 18mm bolts. So since I can't do that one-handed, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to pause the video, and I'll come back and we'll get it done. Alright, I'm back. So you're going to want to make sure your slides slide. If not, you're going to want to pull this out and grease it up. Mine are pretty good. So next, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your caliper. When I painted it, I already pushed these pistons back. You can either use a wrench and place it across and push it back, or they have a piston caliper piston pusher tool. When you're doing that, you want to make sure you remove the cap on the brake fluid reservoir. Since I had it disattached or unattached for painting it, I was able to do it and not worry about that. I'm going to bleed the brakes and refill up new brake fluid. So it's not the best painting job. What I really need is a sandblaster. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little grease right up here on these nubs, because what they do is they slide back and forth on this slide. And then we're going to slip on the top part of the caliper and screw in our two screws here to tighten it up. So there we go. I'm going to pause the video, I'm going to put the caliper back on, and I'll be right back. Hello! So we are back. I had to do a little banging on here. Just wanted to make sure it moved back and forth freely. So, I got it all on. So that is how you replace the brakes and rotors in a 1997 Ford F150 XLT 4.6 liter V8. I hope this helped you out. If you're wanting to know how to do it, in the comments below, let me know if you have any questions. Hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us out. I'll see you guys later.